Methylene blue boosts mitochondrial energy, it's anti-aging, and it improves mood and memory. It's a synthetic compound used as a nootropic to increase memory, mood, and longevity. Soon after, methylene blue was synthesized as a textile dye in the late 1800s, it became the first synthetic drug to be used in humans. It was used for the treatment of malaria. In the early 20th century, psychiatrists were using methylene blue in the experimental treatment of schizophrenia. Methylene blue is currently being studied as potential therapy for mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, and other neurodegenerative disorders, all sharing a common problem with mitochondrial function. Your brain's neurons rely almost entirely on mitochondria-derived energy. Failure of mitochondrial function can affect the rest of your body, and this is particularly detrimental to your brain. This is where methylene blue steps in as possibly one of the most important anti-aging and neurological disease-preventing nootropics available today. As a nootropic, methylene blue quickly crosses the blood-brain barrier. It improves mitochondrial efficiency and respiration, acts as an antioxidant, and it increases brain cell lifespan, resulting in improved memory and mood. Methylene blue inhibits monoamine oxidase and acetylcholinesterase activity. This increases the level of catecholamines and acetylcholine, and it boosts serotonin and norepinephrine, affecting anxiety, depression, and memory. Methylene blue assists brain cell respiration by increasing oxygen and donating electrons to the electron transport chain within the mitochondria. This same process is used to create adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, within the mitochondria from the food that you eat. So methylene blue contributes to the energy production process in place of the nutrients that you get from food, increasing cellular energy, positively affecting mood and memory. Methylene blue is a potent antioxidant. Reactive oxygen species are produced inside the mitochondria. The first free radical that's formed inside a cell is superoxide. Methylene blue will bind to superoxide and reduce it to water. It stops the oxidative cascade at its very beginning, before it gets a chance to do damage. In 1981, German physician and Nobel Prize recipient Paul Ehrlich pioneered the use of methylene blue for the treatment of malaria. Ehrlich discovered that when methylene blue was injected into animals in the lab, it would quickly concentrate in the brain, and it had an uncanny ability to selectively target diseased tissue in the body. It was Ehrlich who coined the term magic bullet for this unique action displayed by methylene blue, a term that's still used today. Methylene blue has since been used to treat dementia, in cancer chemotherapy, malaria, methemoglobinemia, urinary tract infections, cyanide and carbon monoxide poisoning. As a nootropic, methylene blue is used to enhance mitochondrial function, to increase cerebral blood flow, and to act as an antidepressant. Unlike other nootropics, which often work by increasing neurotransmitter synthesis and neural signaling, methylene blue improves memory by increasing brain cell respiration, or how the brain cells utilize oxygen. Studies show dramatic increases of cellular oxygen consumption and glucose uptake when using methylene blue. Methylene blue increases CMRO2, which is cerebral metabolic rate, through the increased activity in the mitochondrial electron transport chain. Methylene blue functions as an alternative electron carrier in the electron transport chain in the mitochondria. It accepts electrons from NADH and it transfers them to cytochrome C. Cytochrome complex, or cytochrome C, is a component of the electron transport chain in the mitochondria, playing a role in apoptosis and as an antioxidant. Methylene blue also stimulates glucose metabolism. Taken together, increases in CMRO2 and glucose uptake means that methylene blue elevates the oxygen consumption, which helps glucose increase the ATP production. The increases in ATP production provides more cellular energy for better overall brain function, including cognition, mood, and memory. Methylene blue has a unique mechanism of action that's fundamentally different from traditional antioxidants. During cellular respiration, the first free radical formed inside a cell is superoxide. Methylene blue binds to superoxide and it reduces it to water. It stops the oxidative cascade at its very beginning before it gets a chance to do any damage. Think of methylene blue as having a unique dual property. First, it increases cellular energy production, which normally leads to oxidative stress. And then second, it eliminates this oxidative stress, making it a metabolic enhancer and an antioxidant. Researchers tested methylene blue in animal models of neurological disease. First, the researchers used rotenone, a potent pesticide, which causes severe dopamine depletion in the part of the brain associated with Parkinson's. Methylene blue rescued the brain cell mitochondria from the damaging effects of this toxin by donating electrons in the electron transport chain broken by the rotenone, essentially bypassing the broken transport chain with the donated electrons as an alternative electron carrier. Methylene blue also countered the cerebral ischemia reperfusion damage, the tissue damage caused when blood supply returns to tissues after a lack of oxygen from a stroke, and this can occur with traumatic brain injury. The methylene blue accomplished this by rerouting the mitochondrial electron transfer, and methylene blue dramatically countered the behavioral, neurochemical, and neuropathological impairment found in Parkinson's disease. As we age, our brain chemistry and our metabolism changes. Mitochondrial energy levels decline. Attention, memory, and mental agility decline. Tau proteins and amyloid plaques clog the brain. Free radicals damage brain cell mitochondria. Cerebral blood flow declines. All of these changes can happen at any age, and they're a product of the food we eat, what we drink, our lifestyle habits, the air we breathe, and more. So methylene blue can help for age-related cognitive decline, as well as a student looking to do better in school, by boosting the brain cell's mitochondrial energy production levels and by improving the cerebral blood flow. Low-dose methylene blue supplementation provides memory-enhancing effects in animals and humans. It works as an antidepressant. It's anti-aging. It helps dementia, Huntington's, and Alzheimer's. Methylene blue increases low blood pressure and improves cognition in healthy people. It boosts mitochondrial function. It's antimicrobial. It can help eliminate fear and even slow skin aging. Research shows that methylene blue is an acetylcholinesterase inhibitor with a preference for the muscarinic acetylcholine receptor, meaning methylene blue prevents the breakdown of acetylcholine and it makes more available in your brain. Methylene blue is a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, or an MAOI. It inhibits the MAOA more than the MAOB, but it inhibits both at large doses. One study in 1987 showed that 15 milligrams per day of methylene blue was a potent antidepressant in those with severe depression. Another study with 31 bipolar disorder patients compared 300 milligrams per day of methylene blue with 15 milligrams per day. The patients were also on lithium treatment. The study showed that the 300 milligram dose of methylene blue was a useful addition to the lithium in the long-term treatment of manic depressive psychosis, and patients were significantly less depressed. Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia are associated with a buildup of a protein called tau. Clinical trials show that methylene blue inhibits tau formation, and is under consideration as a treatment for Alzheimer's. Methylene blue has an inhibitory action on the cGMP pathway, and it affects other molecular events closely related to the progression of Alzheimer's also. Methylene blue boosts neuron resistance to the formation of amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles, and this helps to repair impairments in mitochondrial function and cellular metabolism. Research also shows that cholinergic, serotonergic, and glutamatergic systems also play important roles in the development of Alzheimer's and other cognitive disorders. Methylene blue provides beneficial effects in mediating these pathways. This is particularly significant because most existing treatments for Alzheimer's can only prevent the disease before it's diagnosed, but methylene blue shows promise in delaying the effects of Alzheimer's and dementia even after it's diagnosed. Research shows that methylene blue is an effective anti-aging nootropic. It increases mitochondrial complex 4 by 30%. It enhances cellular oxygen consumption by 37 to 70%. It increases heme synthesis, and it reverses premature senescence caused by H2O2 or cadmium. Methylene blue is considered a redox agent, meaning it cycles between oxidized and reduced forms. This cycling by methylene blue helps to block oxidant production in brain cell mitochondria. Mitochondrial complex 4 is the last enzyme in the respiratory electron transport chain in the mitochondria, the last step in synthesizing ATP, your cellular source of energy. Iron, heme, is an essential element, and it participates in oxygen transport, DNA synthesis, and electron transport. Heme synthesis begins in the mitochondria. Every cell requires heme to function properly. Senescence, or biological aging, is the gradual deterioration of cellular function, and it's caused by telomere shortening that triggers DNA damage in response to reactive oxygen species, hydrogen peroxide, cadmium, and other toxins. Methylene blue helps to prevent the premature senescence or the premature cell death. Animal studies have shown that a single low dose of methylene blue enhances long-term contextual memory. This type of memory is the conscious recall of the source and the circumstances of a specific memory. Other studies show that methylene blue in low doses taken after an event happens helps memory retention of the event. A study done with rats revealed why this works. In the study, rats received 1 mg per kg body weight of methylene blue post-training for 3 days. The researchers then measured cytochrome C oxidation in the participant's brain. The idea was to determine if an increase in metabolic energy was behind the memory-enhancing qualities of methylene blue. The study found that in the methylene blue treated group, brain cytochrome oxidase activity was 70% higher than in the placebo-treated group. The findings suggest the repeated post-training supplementation of methylene blue improves memory consolidation, and this memory boost is due to the increased metabolic capacity in the brain regions that require more energy during discrimination learning. As a nootropic, methylene blue will likely feel different than any other supplement you've ever tried. When reading or studying, once you're done, you should feel like you fully understand the subject material, and you'll be able to use whatever you've learned in the future. Methylene blue seems to facilitate a full understanding of something on the first try. Many users report the biggest nootropic effect they experience with methylene blue is after the fact learning. You take in the information, and it's like your brain sorts through the material, then stores it in a form you can easily access later. Methylene blue has this uncanny ability to rewire your brain to forget about any negative associations you have of a situation, and only retain the positive aspects of that memory. Some report that methylene blue makes you feel young again. It eliminates social anxiety. You feel focused and more confident. Workouts seem easier because you've more energy. Your mitochondria are energized, and you may find the recovery from a workout is easier. Methylene Blue helps to eliminate stress, so you've got more energy in any situation with a relaxed state of mind. And one recurring theme from many is improved sleep while using Methylene Blue. Research into Methylene Blue for its therapeutic value goes back to the late 1800s, but it's only in the last couple of decades that scientists have been able to decode exactly how Methylene Blue works in the brain, all the way down to the molecular level in the mitochondria. A study in 2017 found that Alzheimer's disease could be caused by more than the accumulation of amyloid beta in the brain. The scientists looked into the two main components that produce energy in the cells. Glycolysis is the mechanism used to convert glucose into fuel within the mitochondria. Creating this fuel in the mitochondria uses oxygen in a process called mitochondrial respiration. The researchers found that as the brain ages, mitochondrial metabolism deteriorates, resulting in a reduction in the molecules needed for the energy production, and possibly the main culprit behind many neurological diseases, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. A study conducted at the Children's Hospital Oakland Research Institute may have found the solution to this mitochondrial energy problem in the brain cells. The researchers found that Methylene Blue can prevent or slow the decline of mitochondrial function. One of the key aspects of Alzheimer's is mitochondrial dysfunction, specifically complex 4 dysfunction, and this is where Methylene Blue steps in. The study found that Methylene Blue enhances complex 4 in the mitochondria. It increases oxygen consumption and it reverses premature cell death. The researchers concluded that Methylene Blue may be useful to delay mitochondrial dysfunction with aging and the decrease in the complex 4 in Alzheimer's disease. 26 healthy volunteers aged 22 to 62 participated in a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled clinical trial. The purpose of the study was to measure the effects of Methylene Blue on working memory and sustained attention. The study results showed that a single low dose of Methylene Blue resulted in an increase in short-term memory ability in an area of the brain associated with the senses and visual processing. Methylene Blue showed promise in healthy aging, cognitive impairment, dementia, and other conditions that might benefit from drug-induced memory enhancement. Another study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry tested fear extinction, elimination of fear, and contextual memory. Both are forms of long-term memory. In this study, participants received either Methylene Blue or placebo after being placed in a small, dark chamber for a couple of minutes to address their fear. 1 month later, the participants that had used Methylene Blue had less retained fear than those who were given the placebo. The study's author concluded that Methylene Blue enhances memory and the retention of fear extinction. Increasing evidence shows that bipolar disorder may be a progressive condition. Dealing with bipolar symptoms long-term can result in deterioration of the cortex and less grey matter. A study at Dalhousie University in Halifax compared the effectiveness of lamotrigine along with daily supplementation of either 195 milligrams or 15 milligrams of Methylene Blue in patients with bipolar disorder. Patients took a dose of the medication or 195 milligrams or 15 milligrams of Methylene Blue for 3 months. Then they switched to the other dose for 3 months. The team found that bipolar participants had reduced depression and anxiety when taking the higher dose of Methylene Blue compared to when they were on the lower dose. Several bipolar disorder patients in the study chose to continue using the Methylene Blue after the study concluded. A recommended safe dose based on clinical studies with animals and humans would range from 0.5 to 4 milligrams per kg. So a 90 kg person should take 45 to 360 milligrams of methylene blue. 45 milligrams of methylene blue is a safe starting dose, but 360 would be considered too high. The bottom line is there's no true recommendation for a dose of methylene blue, but it's best to start low to see how your body reacts first. Methylene blue is water soluble, so you don't need to take it with a meal or a healthy fat like some nootropics. Methylene blue has a half-life of about 5 hours, so you could dose it twice per day. Methylene blue is famous for turning your urine blue, but for most users, your urine will only stain blue at doses that roughly exceed 500 micrograms. Some recommend preventing the blue urine by mixing the methylene blue with ascorbic acid for 3 hours before taking it. Methylene blue is also available as a doctor-administered injection for therapeutic uses, typically used to treat diseases like malaria or with anti-cancer therapy. Methylene blue shows hormetic dose response, with opposite effects at low and high doses. In other words, low doses of methylene blue work well as a nootropic, but high doses do not, because methylene blue can potentially steal electrons away from the electron transport chain, disrupting redox balance and acting as a pro-oxidant instead of an antioxidant. Adverse effects of methylene blue also come from chemical impurity. Even pharmaceutical-grade methylene blue can contain impurities like arsenic, aluminium, cadmium, mercury, and lead. At low doses, these contaminants are not that big of a problem, but higher doses will result in the accumulation of these toxins in your cells. Side effects with methylene blue are rare when they're dosed at under 2 milligrams per kg body weight, but they can include stomach pain, chest pain, dizziness, headache, sweating, confusion, high blood pressure, shortness of breath, accelerated heartbeat, tremor, skin turning blue, urine turning blue or green, reduction of red blood cells, or jaundice. This was only reported in infants. Monoamine oxidase inhibition becomes a big problem at around 2 milligrams per kg of methylene blue. So if you're using antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication that affects dopamine or serotonin, you should not use methylene blue, because using methylene blue with one of these medications could cause a hypersensitive crisis or a serotonin syndrome. Methylene blue is especially helpful for those dealing with anxiety and depression. Methylene blue is also particularly useful to students and executives who want to boost cognition, learning, and memory. Methylene blue is a fast-acting nootropic that can also help to prevent brain mitochondrial degeneration, providing potential as an anti-aging nootropic. Methylene blue donates electrons in the electron transport chain within your mitochondria, so experienced neurohackers would suggest avoiding CoQ10 or idebenone when using methylene blue because it seems to make the methylene blue much less effective. Idebenone is an anti-Alzheimer's drug that has some nootropic benefit, but it works similar to methylene blue because it acts as a transporter in the electron transport chain in the mitochondria, possibly potentiating the effects of methylene blue.